Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing part 2 of my library haul because, as I mentioned last time in a video that I will link below, part 1, I've got too many books from the library and the video would have been about an hour long if I'd have put them all in one video, so I decided to just split them up, so this is part 2. The first book that I got is one that's been on hold at the library for ages and I think people have just been reading it, so yeah, I read this when I was at school. And it was one of my favourites at school. I haven't read it in so long, so I genuinely can't remember that much about it. But it's Holes by Louis Sachar. Sachar? Make that up in your head like I just did. This is about a guy called Stanley Yelnats who ends up going to a juvenile detention camp where they have to dig holes in the desert. Yeah, there's not really more I can say about that. It sounds interesting. I mean, I've read it before. It sounded interesting when I read it at school and I really liked it, and I've been trying to relive some of the books that I read at school, so this is the next one on the list. The next book is a book that I have read before, but I honestly don't really remember it, and it's become a big thing recently, so I thought I'd give it a go again. And it's The Bad Beginning, which is book 1 of the series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. If you don't know what this is, then you've probably been living under a rock, because this has just been turned into a TV series on Netflix, which I've really enjoyed so far. I've definitely watched this episode of the first book. But I haven't read this in so long, and I kind of want to read the series because people keep talking about it. So I thought that it would be good to do that. Yeah, so this is the first one. I also really loved watching Jesse the Reader's, I'll link his channel below, and actually the video. He did like a book talk and like an episode talk about The Bad Beginning. He did like each one of the episodes and each one of the books as well. So I feel like this, he's really sort of spurred me on to read this. So yeah, I'm excited. Next is a book that I kind of have some misgivings about because of where I heard about it. Basically, it's Chasing the Stars by Mallory Blackman, and I really want to read the Noughts and Crosses series by Mallory Blackman. I've heard so many good things about it. And then I spotted this in the library and I picked it up. But then I remembered that a long time ago I watched a video of Lauren in the Books where she talked about having read this with her book club and how she wasn't really a big fan. So I'm not really sure how I feel about this. I'm going to give it a go, obviously, I shall read it. But I'm not expecting too much from it. I think this is about like a virus that wipes out the crew of a spaceship? I could be wrong. And this is about the people left over, I suppose. Again, that all could be completely made up in my head, but I think that's what I heard before. So yeah, I'm going to read this and then I'll see how I feel. But I definitely still want to read Noughts and Crosses by her, even if I don't like this one. Next up is a book which I believe is one of Zoella's book club books, or was. I don't think it's in this lot of them. I think it's the last round. But it's If I Was Your Girl by Meredith Russo, which I've heard a lot about and I really wanted to read. I believe it's about a transgender woman who used to, at her old school, be sort of went as a guy, and then in her new school she's kind of decided that she wants to be who she actually is, and it's kind of how she interacts with the guy that she's falling in love with, and I suppose she's probably going to try and tell him at some point, but I don't know. I'm interested. Again, I've not really read a lot of books about transgender people. I think I read one. I can't tell you which book that is because it's a spoiler about the book itself, but yeah, so but no, I really want to read this, and yeah, I'm excited. It's also been blurred by Jennifer Niven, who wrote All the Bright Places, which I think was one of my favourite books of last year, so I'm going to read it. Then I have another book which Lauren in the Books kind of mentioned in a video, which meant that I got it, and there will be a few of these because I love her channel, so I watch and kind of get recommendations a lot. This is Viral by Helen Fitzgerald, and this, I believe, is about a woman who is celebrating something, and then there is an online video of her performing sex acts, and basically the video has gone viral, and it's about what if the worst thing you did went viral. And I have, again, not read much to do with this sort of thing. I think the internet can be a scary place, and so it's something I really want to read because I feel like people don't realise quite how much that, although the internet is a massively positive thing, I do think it can also be a massively negative space as well. So I think this is very interesting, and yeah, I'm interested. I think that this is going to be a different type of book, and I think Lauren liked it, but I can't remember, so I will find out what I think. I've also been watching a lot of channels that talk about feminism recently, so I watch Hannah Witton's channel and I absolutely love it. I think she's fantastic, and she is very much like, she talks about feminism a lot. And I think she's mentioned this book before, but if not, she's definitely mentioned this author. And this is How to Build a Girl, a novel by Caitlin Moran. I love Caitlin Moran. I think on my shelf, yeah, I have How to Be a Woman, which I think is a non-fiction by her, which I haven't read yet, but I really want to. But this one is, like I said, a novel, but it's a very feminist novel. I think that she generally is a very feminist person. And from what I can see, this is about a woman that, or a girl, a 14-year-old girl who is trying to be what society tells her she has to be, and it's about that. So I, like I said, I really like this cover as well. There's something about it which I find very pleasing, and I've heard it's really funny as well, and I love a funny book, so this is one I definitely want to read. It also has lots of books on the back, which makes me very happy inside. Next up is one of the most heartbreaking books that I read as a child, and again I want to reread some of the books that I loved when I was younger, and this is The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank, which is a real life diary that was written by Anne Frank, who hid with her family in an attic, like a secret attic thing, in World War II. And this is, like I said, the true diary of her, and so I think it's mostly heartbreaking because as you read it you realise that this is actually happening, and this actually happened to this girl. I know that I really loved reading this when I was younger. I actually personally really like books with diary entries, so I think that this is definitely one I love, and again, like I said, this is true life, so this is not something that's sort of just been written. This is an actual account of what happened, kind of written from the most kind of base level, because it was from somebody who was there, so, and only a really young girl as well, so yeah, I find this very interesting. Next is a book that I did hear about on BookTube, but I can't remember again who did it or who said it. I remember when I was looking through the library shelves, I was like, I remember that book from somewhere, but I couldn't think from where, and it is the book called The Three by Sarah Lotz, which is about the day when 4 planes crash, and like at exactly the same moment across the globe, and only 4 people survive. 3 of them are young children, and the other one is a woman who records a voice message on her phone and then dies, and that message is a warning, basically. I don't know anything else about this book, but this sounds fascinating. Again, like I said, I love a thriller, and I think this is what this is. Also, the idea of different planes crashing at different times, like at the same time around the world, is very strange, and definitely something I think that I'm going to enjoy. And I've heard that it's really gripping and keeps you on the edge of your seat, so yeah, I'm excited to read this. Then I have my next Stephen King book, because again, like I said, I love Stephen King and I'm trying to read more. As far as I'm aware, this is going to be my first As far as I'm aware, this is going to be my first actually scary Stephen King book, so this is going to be interesting. And it is The Shining by Stephen King, one of the most well-known Stephen King books as far as I know. Also, I just noticed on the side it says Iconic Terror, so this is going to be interesting. I've never seen the films of The Shining, I've just vaguely heard about it. I believe it follows a young boy who can sense other things happening around him in like a little kind of deserted hotel, which just freaks me out in general, so yeah, I'm interested. I really want to read this, but I'm kind of apprehensive, so let me know in the comments below if you've read this and what you thought of it, because I'm a bit scared, not gonna lie. Then I have another book which was definitely inspired by Lauren and the books, because she's been kind of reading a lot of Daphne du Maurier recently, so I thought I'll go into my library and I'll find a Daphne du Maurier book. Do you think they had any? There was pretty much none in there. The only one I could find was this one, which is a set of short stories called The Doll by Daphne du Maurier, and I've never heard of it before, but again, it's a Daphne du Maurier book, and I also really have been loving short stories. Like, I'm trying to find more that I love because I've read a few now and I really liked them. I believe this has something to do with a notebook washing up on a beach, and what's in it, nobody knows, but I'm interested to read it. Again, I really want to find out if I like Daphne du Maurier's writing, because from what I've heard by, you know, Lauren, I think that it sounds fascinating. She sounds like she's a really great author, and again, I haven't read anything by her, so I definitely want to. And along the same lines of the feminism route that I was talking about earlier, I also have I Call Myself a Feminist, The View from 25 Women Under 30, and this is basically small kind of essays or quotes or just sections about from 25 different women talking about feminism. And like I said, I don't really know a lot about kind of the roots of feminism or anything like that. I know kind of the basic stuff, but I definitely don't consider myself well read on the subject. So this sounds interesting. I also find it really interesting to read it from different types of people, because I do believe, from what I've heard and from what I experienced, that every woman and every man has a different life story, and I definitely think this is going to be interesting, so I'm excited. And I also love a non-fiction, so yes. And speaking of non-fiction, this book, I watched Shout Amy's video, and I've spoken to her as well a little bit, and she's fantastic. I watched her video where she talked about this book, and I was really intrigued. Now, you're not going to be able to really see what it says on the front because this is a library copy. Like I said, obviously this is a library haul, and it's really well rubbed away. But it is Eating Animals by Jonathan Safran Foer, and I am a meat eater, I'll be honest, and this basically follows a man who is exploring what we eat and where our food, like meat, comes from. I think from what I've read, like I said, this talks about his personal like journey with food, but it also it gives you kind of, it's really hard to read this on the back because it's like really worn away, but from what it says, the everyday horrors of factory farming are evoked so vividly, and the case against the people who run the system presented so convincingly that anyone who, after reading Foer's book, continues to support the industry must be without a heart, impervious to reason, or both. I think that, I don't know that I don't think this is gonna make me a vegetarian, I'm gonna be honest with you, because I enjoy meat. But I do think that it's important to know where your meat comes from, and I know Amy, who, like I said, whose channel I saw this on, is a vegetarian, and so her opinions on it, I'm interested to know if I have the same opinions because I am a meat eater. And I also just really want to read something like this. Again, this is non-fiction. I haven't really read a lot of non-fiction this year so far. Yeah, I think that I want to be aware of what I'm doing. Like, I want to have an informed opinion. I don't want to be like, oh, I'm a meat eater and I don't care what anyone says. That's definitely not my aim. So yeah, I'm interested to kind of see where I stand on the subject. So that is the end of my library haul. I hoped that you liked this. Let me know if there's any that you think I should get to first, and let me know what you've got out of the library recently. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!